The following podcast is brought to you by the Johners Podcasting Network, found exclusively at wrestlingwithjohners.com.
Marcus, and welcome to another episode of Toilet Side Wrestling Talk. Today's guest hails from Canada, but currently resides in the great state of Texas, trained at the top Talent Wresting Academy, as well as Reality of Wrestling under Booker T and Thunder Rosa. Worked for such promotions as Prairie Wrestling Alliance, Reality of Wrestling, AAPW, Mission Pro Wrestling, Amazing Pro Wrestling, and I could go on. She's the current PWA Women's Champion and shared the ring with the likes of Lady Bird Monroe, Nova Phoenix, Alejandra Leon, former child star Jonathan Lipnicki, Taryn from Accounting, Zoe Sager, and I could go on, but as I said earlier, I won't. So let's welcome today's guest, someone who I hope rejects the notion that children are the most wonderful thing in the world. I give you Thriller Gigi Rey. How are you?
I'm good. That was fun watching that. I haven't watched that much in a while.
Yeah, you know, with the limited media I have to work with, that was great. So
yeah, no, that was fun.
It was fun.
That was a really fun night, and I loved that match. That was fun.
Can I tell you just a little thing? So
yeah.
The other day I was watching like a match of yours, like maybe on YouTube, like on the TV, and my son's like, you know, are you interviewing her? I'm like, yeah. He's like, how do you pronounce her last name? It's Guy what? And I got me, you know, I corrected him and then I punished him, of course.
No, thank you.
Does anybody ever call you Guy? Like not
no.
joking around? No one's ever done it.
I think I got just on one show I was on a couple weeks ago, the commentator, I think they said like Gigi, maybe.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, that's like the first time. I think it's like, I don't know, it's pretty straightforward, I think. But...
Yeah. I just wanted to know if there's people out there who would do that, you know, circulating amongst the population.
Yeah. How old's your son?
I have one who's going to be 12 next month and one who just turned 8.
Okay, we'll give him a pass. The commentator guy, he should know it's pronounced Gigi.
Yeah. Understood.
Yeah.
Oh, you might hear some screaming by an adult female in the background, and that's
sure.
Because I kind of overheard like the children not wanting to eat dinner, that fight. So they're safe if you hear any screaming.
Okay,
the
sure.
person on the other is just my wife. What is your connection with C. Montgomery Burns?
None really.
Okay.
Just after my first row show that I did for Reality of Wrestling, the one photo that came out of me, my hands were kind of like this when I came out through the apron or through the curtain. And I was like, why does that look so familiar? Like, what is this hand position? And then it just kind of clicked on me. That's kind of like what Mr. Burns does.
Yeah, totally. Excellent.
And then, so I thought that was kind of funny. And so, I don't know, I like to poke fun at myself. I'm a pretty lighthearted person, so I didn't care about making that joke. And then a week later or whatever, this other promotion I was wrestling for, they asked me to like cut a promo for like the show I was on. So I just filmed the promo at home. And then while I was like editing it, I stopped on a still and my hands were like this again. And so I just kind of put them all together and kind of just poked fun at it. And then the producer at Row saw it and he kind of poked fun at it, and everyone, it was kind of a joke for like a week or two. And then now, hopefully it's over now. But
yeah, So
it was just kind of fun, and it like popped people, and I like to make people laugh, so I don't care.
Before wrestling, was this something like you did, like
no,
like just like a random thing?
No, it was just a random thing, just something I just kind of like made up and
okay,
whatever. Yeah.
Because one time I got a keychain, I've never found it again, and all the paint came off. It was just like a little rubber Mr. Burns, like that.
Yeah.
I've never found it again. Okay, this is my second doesn't fit in question for you.
Okay.
The PWA Women's Championship. What's going on over there?
I don't know. I'm technically still the champ. Just with. This is what's happening. Okay, there. Okay. So they haven't had any shows yet. So I'm still technically the champ, and until they decide to strip me of it or have someone else fight for it, since I'm not in Canada right now, then so be it. But as of right now, I'm still the champ.
Are you in possession of the belt?
No, I was in possession of it. Typically, PWA like keeps all their titles, and they just have them at the show for you to come out with. But when I won that title after my last match at PWA in March of 2020, I actually asked the promoter if I could take it home because it doesn't have any buckles on it yet or any like snaps. It's just like crap. So I wanted to finish it since like I was the champ.
Yeah.
And so I took it home with me, and I actually never ended up putting buckles or buttons onto it. And then when I left Canada to come to the States, I gave it back to them, like, in case they had to like have someone else fight for it. I didn't want to like hold on to it any longer.
Yeah.
So they have it now, but if I ever go back to Canada, I want it back.
You'll defend your
unless they take it from me, they strip it from me and have two other girls like fight for it, which is totally reasonable. That's fine. But I mean, I would like the chance to defend it if I could.
Yeah, at least one time.
Yeah.
Okay, so in my research of you,
there's not much to look up, so I'm sure it didn't take you very long.
No, you know what? It did. So there, I went through every single picture. No, but there was, there was one picture I saw, as I'm scrolling down, may have been like Twitter or something, and it was a picture of a name I can't pronounce, Provincial Park.
Assiniboine.
Yeah, where is that in relation to where you grew up? Because that was like amazing looking.
Oh, that's one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. That's actually right on the Alberta British Columbia border, right in the Rocky Mountains. It's just on the British Columbia side. So me and a couple of my friends actually, so from where I'm from Edmonton, we drove about maybe only 4 hours to a town called Canmore, which is in Alberta, and then you hike. It was about like maybe a 27-hour hike into you go across through the mountains into BC to Mount Assiniboine, and then you hike back. So that was like a 4-day trip.
What season was it?
We did that beginning of July of last year.
How many days? So it was 27
hours? Yeah, so I think one way is about 27. No, that can't be right. Because I'm trying to think, because we did it over 4 days, I think. And each day we had maybe like anywhere between 8 to 10 hours of hiking. But on the day we came home, we hiked all the way from Mount Assiniboine, which took us 2 days to hike there, and we did it all in one day. So I think that was like maybe 15 hours of hiking in one day.
Oh my God. And did you camp like?
Yeah, so we did backpacking. So you bring all your food, all your camping stuff with you. You don't leave any garbage. You take everything out with you. So it was really fun. It was very, very challenging, and like our feet were like destroyed after that, and your body is so sore. But it's a weird thing because it's really hard to do, but it's so rewarding when you do it. And then just the scenery and the mountains and the nature. I reckon anyone who likes to hike, like they have to do a hike out there. It's really beautiful.
The picture looked like if I was there, I would feel like overwhelmed.
Yeah, it is. It's very majestic, very like humbling type place. And everything is so like natural, and it's crazy that it's like the world, like there's places in the world that look like that, and you can be right in it, and there's lakes up there and trees and more mountains and snow, and then it's raining, and like you get all this different seasons all at once. And like there was places that still had snow, and this is in the middle of summertime.
Yeah.
But you don't need, like, it get cold at night, but I mean, like when you're hiking during the day, you're sweating and it's so hot. And,
and so what about water? How much water are you carrying?
So you bring, I think we had I probably had 1 liter with me, and like you get those like ones that you can wear on your back that have like the straw. And then each campsite does have like a cook station, so like a fire pit. So you just boil your water, let it cool down overnight, then fill up your water jug again in the morning. And yeah, but you're not supposed to leave any garbage out because like there's bears and everything like that.
Oh, did you guys run into any type of like wild animal?
We saw, what did we see? We saw like marmots, which are like woodchucks, I guess, or like really big beavers. So we saw a couple of those. And then we did see like a really big dead carcass of something. I don't know what it was. Maybe some sort of deer or something.
It was from an earthly beast.
Yes, yes. But it was like just like, it was probably like a couple days, maybe a week old. It was starting to like decompose and stuff like that. But I think that was it.
Well,
I feel like on a different hike, I saw like some wild chickens or some wild birds that like, I don't know.
They got aggressive with you? Sometimes they are.
They are. I got like attacked by a chicken like on a kindergarten trip to a farm. So like I'm not into. I hate chickens. I'll eat them, but I don't like them.
Yeah, totally. I don't need to be around them. And I don't like eggs that much. So you grew up in Edmonton? You said.
Yeah.
And did you have a big family presence in Edmonton?
Yeah, so like my immediate family is my parents, my mom and dad, and then I have 2 older brothers, so we're a family of 5. Okay. But my mom has like 7 sisters and 1 brother, and they all live in Edmonton, pretty much in the same community. So I have a pretty big family. So I have a lot of like cousins. I have like 50 some cousins, and
you have like 50 some cousins?
Yeah, I probably have more. I just like I can't like count them all. Like I have so many. Could you
repeat every single one's name? You don't have to do it, but like
I could, but it would just take me a while, and I'd probably miss a couple. And then a lot of my cousins now have kids, so they're like my second cousins, but you still call them like your cousin, or like
sure.
Yeah, so my family's quite large. But my immediate family is just me and my brothers and my parents. So just
what's the age difference between you and like your brother?
So I'm the youngest, and there's only 3 years between the 3 of us.
In total?
Yeah.
Oh, so your parents, see, I wish I never had kids. I do, but you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah. But so at least your parents did the smart thing of just getting it all done, you know, and then they know a date that they're going to be out of it, you know.
Yeah.
When you turn 18, the 2 boys are, old enough at that point. Good for your parents. Good for them.
Yeah, and it's nice because it's like my brothers are super close. I think they're only 14 months apart, and then me and my brother, who I'm the age just closest to, we're like almost like a year and a half, maybe.
So you guys all 3 of you were in high school at the same time at one point?
Yeah. Yeah, I was in grade 10. My brother, one was in 11, and one was in 12.
Now, did you get along with them, like in those years, like those teenage years?
We did, probably not as much. And it's like, because they're super close, so they would kind of like, gang up on me.
Yeah,
and like, I'm the only girl. Now that we're all older and stuff, like I'm really, really close with both of them. And I love them so much. And now, like growing up, we were like, brother and sister. But now we're kind of like, we're still brother, sisters, but like, we're more like friends now.
Okay, so when we saw the highlights a little bit ago, there was a point you did like a body slam or something. Can you, if you guys got really, really drunk and things got out of hand, could you take your brothers down like that?
Yeah.
Easily?
Maybe, probably. They'd probably have to help me a little bit, but one of them for sure I could beat them up. I know.
And get them onto the ground.
One of them would fight back quite a bit, but he's a wrestling fan too, so I think he would let me get my shit in.
Yeah. He's just okay, I'm going to take it a step further. Is your father still in the picture?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Could you take him down?
Yeah. Wouldn't, but like I could.
No, I'm saying like if things got really bad, maybe a zombie apocalypse, like things have gone really bad and you have to fight him or put him down.
I actually always think that if I was in a zombie apocalypse, I don't know how long I'd last. I think I'd just be like, take me.
That's so funny. I always tell my wife that like there is a part of me, and this is horrible.
Like everyone's gonna go anyway.
Yes. Like this is so horrible, and I of course don't wish this, but like part of me was like, man, if COVID turned people into zombies, I think I'd be all right, you know? Like,
Oh, really?
Yeah, and like I kind of yearn for the challenge, you know. And then my wife just doesn't listen to me.
I think sometimes when I watch like those zombie movies, I'm just like, oh fuck, like these people are ghosts, like just give up. But I don't know, I would definitely try, but I would always know that it's like, you know, probably sooner or later you're either gonna have to kill a loved one or you're gonna get bit yourself, and they're gonna want to kill you anyway. So I don't know.
You have to blow your head off, you know? Like, there's many different decisions that have to. Well, we'll talk about zombies at another time, of course.
That was actually fun. Like, I don't care if you want to put that in. That's no one talks to me about that kind of stuff. So that's kind of cool.
What was I going to say? So, anyways, what was your personality like? Was it different than like your brothers? Like, did you to stand out from?
I don't know, not really. I think like, especially being like the only girl and the youngest, I was so like influenced by my brothers, and they were so close, so I always wanted to hang out with them. So I was kind of like a tomboy. Like, I wanted to play sports. Like, that's why I got into wrestling, because they always watched wrestling and I enjoyed it too. So I don't know, but I think my mom tried to make me a bit more like girly, and like I still am like girly, but I still really enjoy sports, and I still kind of am a little tomboyish. Like, I'm kind of a little rough around the edges, but.
What about your mom? Did she grow up as like a tomboy, or was she more? I don't even know what the word is.
I don't really know. My mom's actually from the Philippines, so
okay.
I don't know. She grew up kind of like not like in like a Western society, so it's a little bit different there. But they really kind of had to like fend for themselves a lot. Like, I know my mom used to like have to like sell fruit like on the street just to like kind of like help her family and stuff like that growing up, and yeah.
And then when did your mom?
She's a hustler. My mom has worked really hard to get to where she's at. So I think I get that from her.
How did she, if you don't mind me asking, how did she end up in Edmonton?
So when she, I think, turned 20, like mid-20s or whatever, she wanted to immigrate to Canada just to have like a better life for her family back in the Philippines. Okay. So she applied to be a nanny, and she went to Hong Kong first and worked as a nanny there. And then she eventually was able to get a nanny job in Vancouver, British Columbia. So she was able to get sponsored to come work over as a nanny. And then her and my dad met some way through like, they were like pen pals. Okay. And and she married him, and they've been together ever since.
That's amazing. What do you mean pen pals? Like love letters to each other?
Yeah, well, you know how like how we have like online dating now or apps or whatever?
Yes, sure.
It probably would have been that back then. So like in like the early 80s. So it's like from the way they explained it to me, there was just like a company where you would like write a letter about yourself, what you're interested in. They would copy your letter, and then they would send them out to all the other people who also wrote letters. So then you would just exchange letters with people back and forth, like handwritten letters.
Oh, that's
so my mom got my dad's letter, my dad got my mom's letter, and then they just kind of became pen pals. And then he eventually flew out to Vancouver to meet her, and then they got married and then moved back to Edmonton, and they've been married for like 36 years.
After they met, was there ever a time, like in person, that they dated someone else, like went on a date with some guy, you know, it hadn't gotten serious yet, or had all these like the letters and everything kind of established the emotional thing already for them? I
think when my mom got to Canada, she like dated around and stuff. She told me about some other guys she had dated and everything, but like nothing like serious. Sure. And then when she met my dad, it was just like, yeah, this is the guy. And he was like, yeah, this is the girl I want to marry. And then they did. And then at the time that was when they were like 30. And then back then that was like old to like not be married.
Yeah, for sure.
Because back then everyone's getting married when they're like 19, 20. You already had kids by that time. So they were both 30. They're the same age. And so but it works out.
Your dad grew up in Edmonton?
No, he grew up in Ontario. So it's like on the east side of Canada.
Okay.
Yeah, and then he just moved out to the west, to like Edmonton, just like for more job opportunities. Okay. And so then it worked out that my mom was in Vancouver. They were pretty close, so.
Oh, that's great. And then a couple years later, did they waste any time getting to the pulling off the
3 kids? I don't think so. Like, I think they were married. I think they had my oldest brother maybe like a year and a half, 2 years after they were married. Yeah.
So they're young enough still to appreciate what you do for a living.
Yes.
Okay. So when did your parents have like their idea of what you should do after high school?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Was it different than what you wanted to do?
I honestly didn't really know what I wanted to do after high school. I was really involved in athletics. So like I played basketball and I got a college basketball scholarship out of high school. So I just wanted to play basketball. So I didn't really like, even then, like when I started playing basketball in college, I was just taking like some business courses. I didn't really know what I wanted to do.
Sure. Who does
and I was like, okay, well, at least like business is like something. And I don't know, I just wasn't really that like applied to it. And so I didn't really do that well. I didn't really go to class. I was just there to play basketball, really. And then probably after my first year, when I like wasn't like, I still passed like my first year, but like not well. And so then I'm like, I need to figure out like something I want to do. And so my mom really encouraged me to like try nursing. That's very like Filipino standard career to go into. So I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll give nursing a try, but I had to get better marks to get into nursing school. So my second year when I was at college, I actually just took like upgrading classes. So just to redo like my high school courses pretty much again. So I could go into nursing school. So I did that my second year I played college. I just like did high school again practically at a college level. And then after that, I tried to be a paramedic, and then I did one course for that, and it wasn't for me. I was like, yeah, I'll do nursing. So then after that, I went to nursing school. And now I'm a nurse. Yeah.
So how long did you have to attend nursing school for?
I did it a little bit differently than like a standard like nursing program. I got my diploma first, and then I got my degree afterwards. So all in total. So right now I'm an RN. I started as an LPN before.
Sure.
So total of years of nursing school is about 4.5 years.
Okay. It's too bad you don't live where I live, because I work at an assisted living and memory care place. And you know, it's hard to get like nurses and aides and everything that stick around. Like it's difficult. Okay, but now you're learning more about me, so that's not.
No, it's okay.
No, I'm a man of nothing. So I work and I have children. That's it. So let me back up. Oh, there's two things I forgot. Did you? How was playing college basketball? Was that fun?
Oh yeah, it was a blast.
Was it the competition like legit different than in high school? Like, was it like a step up?
Yeah, it totally was. And I think like for me especially, I went from a pretty small high school to like a big college. And even still, there's still like kind of like in the States, there's different levels of like college that you can play. So I was kind of like, there's like the top level, I was like at the second level, and then there's still a third level, and then there's like no level. So I was kind of in the middle. But even still, that level from going high school to like that middle level of college play was very difficult. And but it was good. And like it was tough because it's like when you're in high school, you're kind of like the best player on your team. Then you go to a college team and you have to kind of find your role again. And you're kind of starting from the bottom again. So that was kind of like hard to get used to. But it was really fun. And then when I would go back and just like shoot around with like some of my old friends that I used to play with, or go visit my old coach from high school, they would tell me how much I improved, which was like nice to hear.
Oh, that's awesome.
But yeah, it was really good competition, and it was tough. And I grew a lot, like personally and like as a basketball player as well. I was like really young, because I started school early. So I like graduated a year earlier as well too. So like everyone on my team was like 18 plus, and I was still 17 playing college basketball. So it was
Did you ever end up starting?
I started one game my first year. My second year, I started like maybe half of them.
Oh, awesome. Did you, where was this in relation to where you grew up? How far?
Oh, in Edmonton.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, did your brothers come to your high school basketball games?
Not really.
Really?
Neither did my parents. They didn't come to my college games either.
When you were, oh, really?
Yeah.
So you had no like family at your basketball games?
Not really.
Do you care?
A little, but it is what it is.
Is there video footage of your games?
There probably was. I don't think I have it anymore, but like, I don't know. You can probably find anything online, but like, I don't know. I didn't get a ton of playing time my first year. I got a little bit more my second year. I think I still played most games like my first year. I know I played every game in my second year unless I was injured. But my first year I would maybe get like, a couple minutes like here and there. Probably more than that, to be honest. But yeah, I know. And maybe that was why I just like, I didn't get as much playing time as like I did when I was in high school. But even in high school, they didn't really come watch me play. So yeah.
I tell my son that, like, he's like, who's the worst player in the NBA? And I say, I said, that's so hard to say because the worst player in the NBA would dominate, anywhere else. And it's because it's just a very, very, very small percentage of the world population who can play basketball for college or pros, So even if you are coming off the bench, like, you made it as like a basketball
player, 100%.
Like,
and that actually, like, and I think too, because I was so young when I was playing college basketball, that took me a long time to kind of like understand that it was like, this is a different role. I'm not the same player I was in high school. I'm doing something different now. Even in high school, I was more of like a shooting guard, small forward. And when I got to college, they're like, well, we have a shooting guard and we have a small forward, so we're going to make you a point guard. And I'm like, I've never played point guard in my life. And you want me to play point guard at a college level? And I've never done it before. So like it was a really big like learning curve. And like I think at the same time too, it's like I was sad that like my family didn't come watch my games. But at the same time, I was like, I don't want you to come watch me sit on the bench either.
Yeah, that's true. So, did they show interest at least? Like when you'd get home and say how many points per game? Okay. All right, whatever.
No, but they're really interested in my wrestling now. So like that I think is kind of making up for it, because that was kind of like a sore spot for me, like growing up and like as like maturing as an adult. Like it sucked like not having my parents there at any of my games, because even in high school they didn't come, and like all my friends' parents were always there, and they would ask like, where are your parents? And I was like, I don't know, they just don't want to come.
They're watching TV.
Yeah, they'll be here to pick me up in an hour. Like
my dad wanted to read tonight.
Yeah, and so I knew for me, like in the future, it's like I want to have a family of my own someday, but like I will do whatever. Like if I have kids and they have sports or play or whatever, I want to be there for them, like 100% to do that. So even if they don't want me there,
it's a blessing in disguise for your future children. You know that they'll get a parent who supports them and shows that.
And I know they supported me and stuff. I just don't think they knew how much it would have meant to me if they were there.
Mm-hmm. All right. When did you get into wrestling? You said your brothers got you into it?
Mm-hmm. So I started like watching wrestling. It's honestly one of the first memories I have, just like as a kid. Mm-hmm. We would watch, me and my brothers and my dad would always watch wrestling. My mom would always come in and watch if like the women were wrestling, and then she'd like leave and go do something else. And so I always really enjoyed it. It was always really fun to watch. I was a big fan of it. And then probably like when I got into high school, when I started playing like more sports, I kind of just got out of watching it. Just didn't really have the time to pay attention to it. Sure. And then in 2015, I started watching it again. And then I just like fell in love with it all over again. And I started training to wrestle October 2019. And I've been wrestling ever since.
So it's only been 2 years, a little over.
Yeah, it's tough because like it is technically timeline wise 2 years, but because of COVID, I couldn't really get in a ring to train for like over a year.
Sure,
like a little on and off, like when the gyms would open and stuff, but it wasn't consistent training. So I actually counted up the months of how much I've been wrestling, and it's like just over a year that I've actually been wrestling.
You know how much I've wrestled? Over 45 years. I'm hoping for my first match still. I'm home training without weights or cardio.
Hey, you gotta start somewhere. All it takes is some heart and passion. So
I said, let's tackle eating and drinking water first, and then we'll go from there. I never really picked up on it. So you're in nursing school. Has the thought of even becoming a pro wrestler or trained to become, when does that enter your head? Because I'd imagine it takes up a ton of time, at nursing school or actually being a nurse.
Yeah. When I was in nursing school, I wasn't watching wrestling at all.
Okay.
I didn't follow it. I didn't keep up with it. Nothing like that.
You didn't even think about it.
I didn't wrestle. It wasn't part of my life anymore. And then I started working as a nurse, and then 2015. So I was probably working as a nurse for about a year at that time, 2015. And then once I started watching it, I really enjoyed it. And then I would always go to like the live events, like the WWE live events when they came into town, into Edmonton. And I would just watch, and I've always been really athletic. So I like watch the girls wrestling, and that was the big thing too. It's like when I started getting back into wrestling, like NXT was just taking off, and they had all those great girls like Sasha and Bailey and Charlotte and Becky and on and on and on. And they were actually having like really, really good real wrestling matches. It wasn't like the bra and panty diva search stuff anymore. Nothing wrong with that, but it's just not my thing.
Exactly.
And so I got to see that. I was like, these girls can fucking go. Oh, sorry. Am I allowed to swear? Sorry.
If you feel comfortable using those adult words, use them.
Sometimes they just come out. But yeah, those girls can like go. And so then like I remember watching them at a live event, and I was like, I could probably do this if I tried.
Really?
And so then so it took me a while to get into it, because I also at the same time started watching more UFC.
Okay.
And so then I was like, I kind of want to be a fighter. Like I want to try to fight.
Okay.
And so I went to a couple like training classes, like MMA classes, and it was really fun. And then like one of the girls like punched me, and like we were wearing like the headgear and stuff, but she hit me in the face, and I was like, that kind of like it hurt. Like I could feel it, and I was like, I don't know if I really want to get punched in the face like that.
Yeah, totally. I mean,
and so then I kind of took a step back, and I was like, fighting's cool, but I don't think I really want to like go in there and it hurt someone. Because that's the idea of a fight, is like you want to win.
Hurt
them. So they lose. And I'm just like, I don't want to do that to someone. I don't want someone to do that to me. So then I kind of redirected, and I'm like, well, maybe I'll give like wrestling a try. Okay. And then I loved it, and yeah, it's working out so far.
At that point, even when you were, doing the MMA training, does anyone know about that you're doing this at the time? Like, do your parents know that the seeds of this stuff is in your head? No. Brothers know? I just tell them like, oh, this is just like the fitness thing I'm doing. Because I think at the time too, I was doing like a kickboxing like circuit class, like as my like fitness routine. And that's kind of what got me more into like, I was already watching like UFC and wrestling. And then I'm doing this kickboxing class, and it was a lot of like, technique stuff. And it was a really good workout. And so I was like, yeah, I think I want to do like a real like MMA or like kickboxing type like class, not just like this circuit training. Yeah. And so then I would just tell them I'm just like exercising. Yeah, totally. Tough workout tonight. Yeah, the yoga teacher kicked me in the face.
Yeah.
When that comes into your head, because when I was 6, I said I want to be an astronaut. What's the first thing you do? Like, I mean, like, where do you go online to look for like a trainer or a wrestling school?
For wrestling?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. So I'm from Edmonton, and then, so everyone always says it's like, if you want to be a wrestler, you have to find a good wrestling school, and you have to be trained by someone who knows what they're doing. Okay. So I'm like, okay, well, I got to find a wrestling school. The only school that was like near me, really like a real like program school, was like Lance Storm School, which was like in Calgary, which is like 3 hours from Edmonton.
Okay.
And then at the time, I think like he was like just about to close his school down because he was going back to WWE, I think. And then also I couldn't really I would have to move to Calgary, live there to go to the wrestling school. And that just wasn't going to work for me because I was working full time as a nurse. I had an apartment. I have my family. It just wasn't really in the cards for me to do something like that, to take that time of time off to go train to be a wrestler.
Sure.
So then I think there's a couple independent promotions in Edmonton.
Were you aware?
And then one of them I found was running a camp, like a weekend camp. Okay. And I just found it through Facebook. So I applied to it. The guy running it was Michael Richard Blaze, and he kind of had his resume on there. And I'm pretty sure I'd seen him wrestle on TV before. I'm like, oh, okay, this guy actually looks familiar. And his resume is really good. So then I went to that training camp, and then after the weekend, they kind of just teach you the basics, which was kind of cool. And then after the weekend camp, he asked me, he pulled me aside from a class and was like, do you actually want to wrestle? Because I think if you train properly, you can wrestle. And I was like, yeah, that's why I'm here. I want to wrestle. Yeah. He's like, okay, we'll start coming to training every week, because they kind of had there was the weekend camp, and then they would invite you to train throughout the week if you were good enough, kind of.
Did you think when he said this to you, when he pulled you aside, did you think you'd been having a good showing?
Not really. I don't know. Okay. The thing is, though, it's I've always been very fit and active. There's some people that come to these camps and they're not as athletic, which is totally fine. You just have to get into shape. And but I was already in shape. And also it's I watched a lot of wrestling, so the stuff that they were doing, I could like mimic it well. And
sure.
I don't know. So, and I'm just athletic, so I picked it up quite fast, I think. And then, yeah. So I guess I stood out more than other people in the class, which was kind of nice.
Sure.
And I was like one of like 3 girls that were there. So if you're there in a group of guys, you always stand out if you're a girl.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Had you ever been in a wrestling ring?
No, that was the first time.
Was that kind of surreal, like stepping through for the first time?
Yeah, it was kind of, because I remember the first couple days at the training camp, you're just kind of doing like conditioning stuff, like push-ups and whatever, you know.
How many push-ups would they ask?
What's that?
How many push-ups would they ask you to do at a time?
Oh, like not a lot, like 10 or 15.
Okay.
Or it'd be like do like 15 push-ups, then do like 40 sit-ups, and then do like a minute wall sit, and then like carry someone across the room. Like it was a whole bunch of different things you had to do. Sorry, I have a fly here on my laptop. Sorry.
Hold on. Carry someone across the room. Had you ever carried a human? Like anywhere?
Well, you would try to find someone who's like the same size as you.
Okay,
and that's the thing with wrestling too. Because you're working with other people, you should be able to at least carry your own body weight and then some.
Okay. So, and you train specifically, like at a fitness place or something, specifically to
lift people?
Able to lift people. Yes, totally. To levitate.
Probably maybe pre-COVID times, not anymore.
Yeah, for sure.
But no, with like the lifting people, it would be like you would just kind of like get them up on your shoulders or piggyback ride them like across the room and bring them back.
Okay.
And then they would do it to you. And then, or you would do like a fireman's carry. So you would like kind of put them up on your shoulders and go there and back.
So at this point, like, are you proud of yourself? Like that, like, oh my God, I've done some of the stuff that I see, like all these guys who are making a ton of money on TV, like, or just the fact that you could pick up another human. Were you
at that point
recognize like that? Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. I guess so. Right. But no, I was just like, it was just fun to be there. And I didn't really have like, obviously, because I think I had asked ahead of time before the camp, like, well, what is the process of like wrestling on like a PWA show? Because that's kind of where I wanted to wrestle. That was kind of like the bigger promotion in Edmonton. Sure. And Michael was like, well, if you're good enough, it's like, we'll just put you on the show. And I was like, oh, okay. So I'm like, hey, well, he's like, oh, I think he said, come to a mini camp. And then keep coming to them. We're going to do them every month or whatever. And as you progress, we'll evaluate you and get you onto a show whenever you're ready. Okay. So then after my first weekend camp that I went to, I totally went with the intention of, going to the next one and the next one until I was like good enough to be on a show. And so then after my first one though, he was like, yeah, like just come every day to like this place and we'll train you. I was like, okay, I will. And then, yeah.
And then how long, what was the from like your first day to your first match? How long is that?
3 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know a lot about anything, but I know that's, that's very
apparently that's fast.
Unique.
From what I've heard from some people, that's pretty fast. So
what was the hardest thing to get used to from training?
The training, I didn't expect the ropes to be as hard as they are. So that was kind of tough, but your body gets used to it. Like your body gets kind of like callous to it. Yeah. But at first, like running the ropes, I had so many bruises up and down my back. And then up until the point, it's like, I think after like my first weekend of like training and running the ropes, it's like, it hurt to hit the ropes and it was so painful, but now it's like nothing.
Like you would, would you come home, let's say after the first day and like, oh my God, I got to do that again tomorrow? Yeah,
sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay, so have you seen your first match like on video?
I have, and oof.
Oh, really? Would you ever watch it again?
I would watch it again, but
okay. I thought it was going to be like Schindler's List, where like you only watch that one time. You don't need to see it.
No, like whatever. I don't really care. It's like. I have a match even just from like a couple months ago. When watching it back, and I'm like, oof, yikes. But so whatever.
Now, can you watch wrestling matches like you did when you were just a fan?
Oh yeah, I mostly still do watch it just as a fan. I actually have to like go into like wrestler mode and like watch it differently, like psychology wise, and like study it a bit more. But like I don't know, on like my day off or like when a pay-per-view's on, like I just want to watch it and enjoy it still as a fan because I still just like love it so much as a fan. And
Do you subscribe to WWE Network or Peacock?
Yeah.
What about
and here's my thing with like that. I don't know if I should even say it, but
do it.
WWE Network in Canada is so much better than Peacock.
It's so much better.
Like when I got Peacock, like here in the States, I was like, what is this? Where is everything? Where's all the stuff?
Yes, totally. It's like I wouldn't have like what did they say? Listen,
what are they doing? I need someone to like give me a VPN and jailbreak and do all that stuff so I can get my Canada one back.
For sure, because someone like in some boardrooms like, let's make it more confusing for people.
No, yeah, and then like I just had a trash can match the other night, and so I wanted to like look up a couple like street fights and hardcore matches and stuff. So I was like trying to type it into Peacock, and I can't find them. But like on the WWE Network, like in Canada, you can literally type in anything, and all that stuff will pop up.
Yeah, in Peacock, it's not just going to only pull up WWE stuff. You know, like, I kind of think I've ranted about that before.
Oh, okay. I don't want to get in trouble.
No.
I know who's going to get mad at me for it, but it's...
I seriously probably once a week say to my wife, I hate Peacock. And I say, I know you don't care, but
I don't care. Like, I don't pay for it. Like, my landlord, it's like included in my rent. So I'm like, whatever, so I'll shit on it. I don't care. But yeah, the WWE Network in Canada or wherever other country gets it, like, be thankful because Peacock is the shits. Yeah. Sorry.
I can almost guarantee you Peacock will not hear this. This will not get back. Yeah. So you're safe. Okay.
Okay, thanks.
So you wrestled for PWA while you were in Canada, obviously. Yeah. How did reality of wrestling present itself?
So I knew that because I want to be a wrestler and I want to make it to like the big leagues. I want to wrestle around the world. Sure. So I knew that like if I wanted to do that, I had to get out of Canada for one. And then I had to go to actually I'm so thankful for the training that I had from like MRB like in Canada because like he's taught me everything and that's really what's gotten me so far here. But I knew I needed to like go to a school in the States to kind of get also more recognized and like notable.
Sure.
So I always knew about Booker T's school, Reality of Wrestling, and like their show on YouTube is like really well done. It looks really good, and and it's Booker T. So and a lot of good people have come out of his school. So I was hoping I could just like go there and get a little bit of training, and once maybe get on their shows, get a bit more noticed, and go from there. And that's kind of how it's worked so far. But I'm like, when people ask me about my training, like I still like need to like emphasize that I'm trained from Canada. And it's like I have been training at Row and I love all the people there and I've learned so much from them there. They've really like helped me work on like other things too. But like my basics, my fundamentals, a lot of that stuff is all from like MRB in Canada. So
and so like did you have to like apply to get kind
of. So what I did, because I was moving to Texas from Canada, I literally just called Reality of Wrestling like off their webpage, and I'm pretty sure I was talking to Charmel. I didn't know I was talking to Charmel at the time. I said, hey, like I'm planning, I want to come to Reality of Wrestling to train. I've trained for like in Canada for like a year. Like, what's the process? And she told me how much it was a month. And I asked her, I'm like, well, what's the process of like getting onto the shows? And she said, once Booker thinks you're good enough, you're going to be on a show. I said, okay. And so they're like, yeah. I'm like, so I can just come on whatever day? They're like, yep, come on Monday, bring $300. That's like your deposit. So I showed up on Monday with $300 and I started training.
Okay. Did you have any type of network of friends, family okay.
Zero.
This will bring me to my next question. Did you drive to Texas?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you cry the entire way down?
No, thankfully I didn't because it was a 3-day drive. And because I'm a nurse, I was allowed to drive my car across the border because the border was still technically closed to like non-essential travel. For sure. So I was driving down to Houston from Edmonton, 3-day drive, and my mom wanted to keep me company. It's a really long drive to make. Oh, okay. But my mom wasn't allowed to actually cross the border, but she was allowed to fly across the border. She just couldn't go across the land border. Okay. So my mom actually flew into Montana, and I drove from Edmonton to Montana, picked her up at the airport in Montana, And then we drove the rest of the way down to Houston together.
Oh,
and then she flew back home like 2 weeks later.
And I imagine at this point, like your mom is okay with this happening?
Yeah, I actually, like when I was wrestling in Edmonton, I didn't tell her about it. I didn't tell her that I was training for wrestling and that I was going to the States to train more for wrestling until like a couple days before we left.
So what was the reaction?
She was kind of like, oh, she's a mom. She's like, why do you want to do that? Like, I don't want you to get hurt and stuff like that. And I knew that, like, I knew she wouldn't want me to get hurt, but like, she always enjoyed watching like the women's wrestling on TV. So I was like, and I know my mom would like love to watch me on TV.
Sure, yeah.
So I was like, well, whatever. I'll just be on TV. Mom, maybe I'll be on TV someday and you can watch me. And so the first time I actually showed her one of my matches, she started crying because she thought I was hurt and I felt really bad. I'm like, hey, I don't want to show this to you then. But she's starting to like it a lot more now.
Has she seen you wrestle live?
No, she hasn't. Actually, no one in my family has watched me wrestle live yet. They've only seen video.
Have they expressed when you were in Canada interest in coming to see you wrestle?
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, actually, before COVID happened, PWA was going to have like our big anniversary show. And that was going to be the first time my brothers and my dad were going to come watch me wrestle. But at that time, my mom still didn't know I was wrestling. So they're just going to like tell her. I don't know what they're going to tell her. But
have they been down to visit? Like your
no, not yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, so that's pretty good. Like, now if it was me, I would be like so nervous to make a huge, did you have any like trepidation about like, because I mean, you moved very far away. Like
I did.
Like to be by yourself. Weren't you nervous at all?
I don't know, not really. Like when I was in nursing school, I moved away as well. I didn't move as far. I moved like 5 hours away to a different town. And I guess then I had a roommate that I lived with, and she was one of my best friends, still one of my best friends to this day. But I've always been like really independent, and I knew that's like, I don't know, like I'm a little bit older, so it's like I can take care of myself, and I have a dog, which is nice. But I mean, like,
that is nice.
I wanted, especially with wrestling, it's like you really have to commit a lot of your time to it if you want to be successful at it.
Okay.
And so I don't know. I have a good job. I really love wrestling. I'm doing well in wrestling. So I don't know. I just
did you have to did you have a job in place before you left?
I did. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's great. Well, I guess it's a job that they need people constantly.
Yeah. So I'm very fortunate in that sense because I know a lot of Canadians don't have that same privilege to be able to like just move their career to a different country. And for me, it's like no problem.
Do you like being a nurse?
Yeah, I do.
Do you ever get stressed?
Yeah. Okay. COVID was very stressful.
Yeah,
stressful,
but what was there like a big difference in the two places you've trained?
I think back at home, there wasn't really a big group of us. There was maybe just like a solid, like other people would come every once in a while, but it was a really like a core group of like 4 to 6 of us that would always train together, which was nice.
Okay.
So that was nice because it's like you get comfortable with everyone. You don't take anything personally. Like if you're having a bad day and they kind of like call you out on it, you can just tell them, like, you know what, I'm just having a bad day, like fuck off. And it's not a big deal, right? And like, or it's like you're not shy to like, I want to try this, I want to do this. At Roll, some days there's lots of people there. Some days the classes are smaller. So when there's bigger class days, obviously it's like you just do whatever everyone's doing in the class. And then on the smaller days, that's a chance where you can kind of like, oh, well, can I try this? Can I do that? Back at home, because we always kind of had a smaller group, we could more often be like, okay, well, I want to try this. I want to do this. I want to do this. So that was probably the only big difference, is maybe just like class sizing, I guess.
Okay.
But yeah.
Was there like any, like, did any of the wrestlers who were in training, is it like pressure to try and make yourself stand out?
I mean, a little bit. I think it's like, not that you want to make yourself stand out, but I think especially with training, you should train how you want to perform. Right? Like, so if you're in the ring working on like spots or whatever, you should try to be doing it with the same kind of intensity that you're doing, that you would do in an actual match.
Sure.
And sometimes it gets tough because it's like, sometimes you really got to like hit someone.
Yeah.
But at training, you don't really want to hit them that hard because, like, what if you hurt them? And you shouldn't hurt them. But accidents happen.
Yeah.
And so there's that kind of like fine line. But so I don't think there's a pressure to like show off or anything like that, or show anyone up. It's just like, just try to do your best and try to practice how you're gonna perform, because that's the only way. Like, unless you're like consistently having matches all the time, you can use your training time to like pretend like you're in a match and see how that's gonna work out in a real match, I guess.
Is there anything that you have done in the last couple of years that you're amazed that you can do, that you never thought you'd be able to do, besides being a professional wrestler? But like something specific.
I'm a little surprised. Like, so I'm fine with like doing flips and stuff, but I really struggle with just doing like a straight moonsault. And I'm surprised I can't do that. I always like had a tendency to turn my head. And if you turn your head, that's going to turn your whole body.
Okay.
So now I just like try to just turn my head so my whole body turns instead of just doing a straight moonsault, because I can't do it.
You weren't one of those kids who had like the trampoline set up in their backyard growing up?
I didn't have a trampoline, but my best friend growing up had a trampoline, so I was always at her house jumping around.
You could do flips and stuff on there.
I would try to. Usually, I wouldn't do like a good flip. Like I would do like a flip and like land on your butt or your knees or something like that. Now, like on a trampoline, I can do a front flip, land on my feet. I think I tried doing a back flip and landing on my feet, but.
Oh, that's impressive on a trampoline.
On a trampoline, I can. I think I've tried a standing moonsault in the ring. But a lot of girls do a standing moonsault, so that's why I don't bother practicing it.
Yeah. Who's taking you under their wing outside the ring in Texas, since you came there knowing no one?
Like who's taking care of me? Just me. I'm taking care of myself.
No. Like taking you under their wing, like, these are good places to eat, or come to my house, we'll make you dinner, like anything like that.
Yeah, I have one really good friend at Reality Wrestling. Her name's Haley. She's awesome.
Okay. She sounds amazing already.
Yeah, she's a great girl. I love her. She's training at Row 2, so
okay.
You should be able to see her eventually. And then I don't know, just make some friends. It's tough because it's like between work and wrestling, I don't really have a lot of spare time.
Yeah.
And especially this past month, I've been booked a lot, getting more bookings on weekends too. So I've been doing a lot of like traveling just within the state. So I actually don't really like go out that often.
So when was the last time you've been on a vacation?
This is kind of a vacation.
Yeah. A lot. Have you? Do you wear a cowboy hat, boots, or spurs ever while you're down there?
No.
Last ignorant question: have you ever struck oil?
No, I haven't.
Okay, you should try to. There's a lot of money in that, apparently.
I hear it's kind of funny because like up in Alberta, we're kind of like oil and gas industry, cowboy stuff too. So I kind of just went to like the Alberta of the States.
I'm sorry, I don't know why I just thought of this, and I probably should have asked a little while ago. When you were growing up, how often would you see like a bear or a moose?
I've never seen a moose in real life.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I heard they're just gigantic.
Yeah, I've seen some in Montana and Yellowstone. Now, you just haven't seen them because they don't live like around.
I think they live around, like especially in the mountain areas, like because I go to the mountains quite often. Like I snowboard and I hike and all that stuff.
Oh wow!
But I never seen a moose. But I've seen bears, like pretty much maybe once a year when I'm in the mountains, I see a bear. I've seen a couple cubs, and those are really cute. But then it's like, okay, you see the cubs, so that means like the mom is out somewhere. So like, get out.
You gotta get out of there.
You gotta go. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry I got back to nature again.
That's okay. I love nature, and that's the thing. There's like no nature here in Houston.
That's what I was gonna say. Is it like tumbleweed? Like dust?
No, it's just like concrete. Like
really?
It's a lot of like. One of the freeways is like 8 lanes.
Oh, really?
Yes. And then it's like, and I'm getting better at it now. But like when I first moved here, like, I was just like staring at my GPS on my phone like the whole time. Because I don't know like which way to go. And then if you take the wrong exit on the freeway, then it's going to take you another 20 minutes to come back around. So it's a little exhausting.
How far would you have to drive to like go somewhere where you can relax and take a hike, and it's quiet? Is there anywhere like similar to like being in the mountains?
Not really.
Really?
Yeah.
What's fun to do?
I'm sure there is. I just like haven't really like looked for it. In the city of Houston, there's just not really that much, which is like fine. It's just I wish there was a little bit more of that. But
do you So you're working and you're training, you know, in wrestling. Do you just sleep in the hours that are in between?
Yes, I sleep only probably like 5 hours a night, and I like eat most of my meals in my car.
Oh my gosh.
Because it takes me like 40 minutes to drive to work.
Okay.
And then driving home from work takes about an hour because traffic is bad.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm home for maybe like 40 minutes. Okay. So I can quickly make a supper. Mm-hmm. And then I eat it in my car when I drive to training because that also takes me an hour.
Do you ever work overnight?
No, not anymore. I used to when I was like in Canada working as a nurse. I would work a lot of nights. I would do 2 weeks of day shifts, 2 weeks of night shifts. And now I just work day shifts, which has been like way better. Did
that ever overlap with wrestling when you were in Canada?
Not really. A little bit. Like if I was working a night shift, I would just have to leave training a little bit earlier so I could go to work.
Okay. Was that exhausting?
Sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Gigi, I've learned a lot today. I think I'm a better person. But I have tons of more questions.
Yeah.
But I also don't want to get divorced.
Oh.
So we hopefully can do a part 2, and the hopefully being if you will come back on. I'm always around.
Sure, I would love to. This was really fun.
Awesome. Can I ask you 5 non-wrestling related yes or no questions? You don't have to say anything beyond yes or no.
Okay, sure.
If you don't want to.
Sure.
Okay. Do you think that, you know, since you grew up around nature and like beautiful things like that, do you think I have any resemblance to a bald eagle or the golden eagle, especially the beak?
Can I see the other way?
Yeah. Because I've been called eagle beak before, not in a fun way.
I don't think so.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Have you ever thrown a party and only served heroin?
No, I have not. Okay.
For $8.9 million, $8.9 million, would you eat every page of the King James Bible?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for your honesty. I test these on my
I'd read it too. I'd read it while I eat it.
Yeah, and you don't have to get you get like the little pocket version.
Yeah, no problem. Only 2.
Have you ever reported somebody to like the SEC or the IRS?
No. Okay. No, not my business. Do whatever you want. Don't involve me. I don't care.
Sure. Okay. Is there any circumstance where you would go on a date with an 85-year-old?
I don't know. If it was like his dying wish, maybe. Like you don't have to do anything. Just hang out.
Yeah, it's maybe a dinner, a movie. Like you'd have to go at like 4 p.m. But okay, good. These are all good things to know. I'm glad we've got.
Depending on the circumstances, yeah. If it was something like this dude needs to go out for the last time where he's going to die, like yeah, of course I'll go on a date with him. No problem.
All right. Well, to all my senior citizen listeners, she's in Texas. She's in the States. Reach out to her. Gigi,
no, I ain't coming.
Yeah, no, I don't have, like, I look at the demographics. There's no,
I'm all talk.
That's a generation that can barely do anything on the internet. Yeah. Trying to explain what the internet is to someone, Right. Anyways, thank you so much. I wish you a ton of success. I sincerely would like to talk again. Until then, though, be safe and stay healthy, and hopefully we'll talk again soon.
Thank you. You too.
All right. Take care.
Okay. Bye.